Our next speaker is Shilin Wen from the University of Science and Technology of China, Hefei, and the title is Temporal Interference Stimulation of the Nucleus Accumbens, Modulating Liking and Wanting.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be here today. My name is Shilin Wen. I'm a PhD first-year student at the University of Science and Technology of China. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to share my recent work with you. The title of my presentation is Temporal Interference Stimulation on the Nucleus Accumbens, Modulating Liking and Wanting. Rewards are everywhere in our daily life, such as food, money, music, and so on. They come in many different forms, but all rewards has two effects. They feel good, that's what we call liking. They motivate us to get more, that's wanting. We often want things we like. Is there any dissociation between liking and wanting? And animal studies have shown that the brain regions associated with liking, showing red and blue, and the brain regions associated with wanting, showing green, has both overlapping and distinct areas. In our study, we focus on the Nucleus Accumbens, NAC, which is a hotspot in reward study. Animal studies have demonstrated that the NAC modulating both liking and wanting. But of course, we humans don't like to admit that our brain works just like rats. There's still a lack of causal evidence in human studies regarding to the role of the NAC in liking and wanting. That's exactly what we aim to address in our current study. However, we can't easily study the human brain through dissection, and traditional non-invasive stimulation can reach deep brain region like the NAC. But in 2017, a new technique published in the Cell and called Temporal Interference Stimulation, TIS. TIS can selectively stimulate deep brain region without affecting the overlying cortex. Therefore, we apply TIS to directly stimulate the NAC to demonstrate the causal relationship between NAC and reward response, both liking and wanting, and further explore the dissociation between liking and wanting. Here is an overview of the method we employed. This study used a within subject design with two stages. In stage 1, we collected structural MRI scans to personalize the simulation parameters. In stage 2, participants completed two NAC stimulation sessions, one active and one sham, spaced at least 3 days apart, with the ordered counterbalance across participants. After a 5-minute rest period, they completed a music reward task. And we have 31 healthy participants in total, including 16 females with an average age of 22.3 years. None of them have any formal musical training. For TRS, we use 20 Hz, 2 milliampere. We apply for 30 minutes. We chose 20 Hz based on peer study showing that the positive reward increased beta-gamma activity in the frontal cortex, a phenomenon called the beta-gamma effect. This effect suggests that the motivation signal comes from the OFC and VMPFC and regulated by the SN and VTA and synchronized with the beta-gamma region in the ventral striatum to transmit motivational value. That's why we chose 20 Hz. After the stimulation, participants completed a behavioral task called the music reward task. Each starts with a 3-second fixation clause followed by a 45-second music songs. During the music, participants continuously rate their moment-to-moment pleasure, which was used to calculate liking. After each music songs, they gave ratings for beat, familiarity, arousal, and emotional valence. The beat rating was used as a measure of wanting. Participants listened to a total of 15 music songs. 5 songs were familiar and liked songs provided by the participants themselves, and 10 songs were unfamiliar songs selected by us. About the unfamiliar song selection, since each participant completed 2 sessions, we prepared 2 sets of music songs to ensure the 2 sets were well matched. We analyze each song's musical features such as BPM, beats per minute, and other acoustic properties using Spotify audio analysis tool. In addition, we recruit 28 independent raters to evaluate the unfamiliar songs we selected. This allows us to confirm that the two sets songs were balanced. About the result session, let's start with the first result. Here are some of the participants' simulation results. As you can see, the results show that we are able to effectively stimulate an AC. Here are the behavioral results. We found that stimulation increased participant liking for familiar music. Further analysis shows that this effect was mainly driven by an increase in high pressure experience, especially chills. Chills is a physical response, often felt as a cold wave or goosebumps during emotional peaks. This result suggests that NAC may play a physiological role in reward processing. We also found that stimulation enhanced participant wanting for familiar music. However, the stimulation did not affect arousal and emotional valence rating for the music. And we further explored the relationship between liking and wanting. We conducted correlation analysis on stimulation-induced changes in liking and wanting for familiar music. The changes in delta liking and delta high pressure and chills were not significantly correlated with the change in delta wanting, maybe indicating a dissociation between liking and wanting. To further explain this dissociation, we conducted correlation analysis between the change scores and individual change measure. We found that delta liking and delta high pressure and chills were negatively correlated with the score on the interpersonal activity index and the emotional intelligence scale. This suggests that individuals with higher emotional intelligence show smaller changes in liking after stimulation. In other words, their affective response were more stable. This finding implied that liking may be rely more on top-down cognitive control mechanism. However, delta wanting show a positive correlated with scores on the temporal experience of parallel scale, especially the anticipation subscale. Additionally, delta wanting was negatively correlated with the sensory experience submission of the Snaith-Hamilton pressure scale. This suggests that individuals with lower sensory pressure experience, meaning they have weaker physiological response to pleasurable stimuli, and those individuals with higher emotional sensitivity to the positive feeling show greater changes in wanting after stimulation. This finding implies that wanting may depend more on bottom-up sensory and physiological drives. Conclusion and discussion. NAC-TIS causally increase liking and wanting for familiar rewards. We further explore the relationship between liking and wanting. The distinct correlation of liking and wanting with different components indicated a separation between these two processes. Our correlation analysis support the idea that the brain wanting system may be more primitive, driven by bottom-up dopamine pathway from the midbrain region. From an evolutionary perspective, the liking system developed later and is more fragile compared to the extensive wanting system. Liking may be influenced more by the top-down cognitive control. And the different patterns of correlation between liking, wanting, and various trait scales further support the idea of dissociation between liking and wanting. In future work, we plan to conduct fMRI experiments to validate these findings. Lastly, I want to express my gratitude to my advisor, Professor Zheng Xiaochu, and all my colleagues in the labs of cognitive neuropsychology for their support and system. And I have no disclosure. Yes, and thank you for your time and attention. I'm happy to take any question.
Thank you. We have a question from the audience. Did the presence of chills as a binary variable mediate any other effective outcome measures, for example, mood after the session?
Pardon, you mean the chills? Yes, chills is more, pardon, sorry.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Okay.
also do the presence of chills.
Yes, we measure the chills with the EDA, which is the skin response, but we haven't analyzed this data. Yes, we future we analyze this data and support the physiological evidence for it.
Okay, thank you so much.